Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. I'm just going to start where we normally start this time of year, and that's with LSU football. I was able to get out to the entire practice on Saturday. That's kind of rare for me, as I can generally pop over for 20, 30, 40 minutes here or there and then get back for meetings or to get ready for the show or whatnot. But on a Saturday, I can pretty much get over there and take it all in, which I did. And I had some thoughts, some of which are adding to narratives and storylines from camp, and some which I kind of saw for the first time on Saturday. So let's kind of dive into that here on this Monday. The offense, to me, just continues to look very good. At times, the defense punches back, and at times, the defense makes plays here or there, but the majority of the time, the offense is humming, if not the vast majority, in my opinion. Now, some of the drills are tailored to the offense, and we understand that, especially early on when nobody's got pads on and you're not rushing the passer and just kind of playing out in space. That generally benefits the offense. But they had the full pads on Saturday, and they did some 11 on 11, and they did some 7 on 7, did some red zone stuff. And to me, the offense just looks very, very good. Malik Neighbors is nearly unstoppable out there, no matter who they've got on him, whether it's a freshman brand new out there or it's LSU's most veteran corners. They have a real difficult time dealing with Neighbors. He was making a lot of plays in the red zone period, scoring touchdowns. Kyron Lacey continues to have a very good camp on the outside. He showed his strength and size on Saturday in some of the drills that I saw, and some of the 11 on 11. And I continue to think that Aaron Anderson's having a really, really strong fall camp. On Saturday, he did not have that sleeve that he had on early in camp. He's a full go, and that's not brand new news. But I think, to me, those three guys and Brian Thomas have kind of established themselves as the top four. I think Chris Hilton is a really talented player. He met with the media today. I think if you had to have him go out there and play, he could absolutely do it. I think the freshmen are supremely talented. Parker runs great routes. Shamson is so physically gifted and fluid in terms of his running. Jalen Brown is maybe the fastest guy on the team. Like, there is a lot of depth and a lot of talent in the wide receiver room, but I think the top four are pretty clearly Neighbors, Lacey, Thomas, and Anderson, and I think that's a really, really good unit. As I mentioned, they had that red zone drill, which was 7 on 7, and in my opinion, the offense just picked the defense apart. You had Nussmeier hitting some on the rollouts. You had Jaden Daniels letting it go. And again, there's no pass rush, and you're asking him to cover for a long time in some instances, but it just felt like the offense was really cooking in that red zone drill. When they got to 11 on 11, one of the things that jumped out to me, they were doing a lot of inside runs. And the LSU defense did a pretty good job stopping on some inside runs in the middle of the field. This was not in the red zone portion. And I'm watching, and they hand the ball off to a running back, and there's a huge collision at the line of scrimmage between a linebacker and a running back. And the running back clearly wins it and falls forward 5 or 6 yards and then gets up and is fired up. And I went, oh, that was Caleb Jackson. And I got as close to Caleb Jackson physically as I have in camp on Saturday. That's a big dude. Like, he's big. And again, I think that the veteran running backs are significantly ahead of the freshmen at this point. I look at Josh Williams, I look at John Emery and Noah Kane and Logan Diggs, and those guys, to me, are going to get the lion's share of the carries. But just speaking in truths, Caleb Jackson's a big dude, and we know based on his times and on his tape in high school, he's got a lot of speed too. So the physical gifts for Caleb Jackson are undeniable. I think his playing time might be a little bit deniable at this point, because I think that there are some veteran guys that are going to take those spots. But I did get to see him run a little bit and was impressed with the physicality. This is a roundabout way of kind of weaving through and talking about some offensive players and talking about some things I saw, and then getting to maybe a bigger point here. And the bigger point is that I think at this point, it is fair to question LSU's secondary. I phrase it that way intentionally. I don't say this is a bad secondary. I don't say they're in big trouble. I'm just saying, for years, we've just kind of given LSU's secondary the benefit of the doubt, because they usually had 5 stars. They usually had Thorpe finalists. They usually had first-round picks. Like, That's the groups we've looked at. You know the names by now. I'm not even going to go through any of them. You know what LSU's done in terms of defensive backs, star power at this level, and then sending them to the next level early for long careers. It's as good a history as there is in recent college football. I don't see the first-round pick out there. I see a transfer from Southeastern who has good size and looks the part of an SEC corner. I see a transfer in from Syracuse who's a little bit short and not necessarily an elite level athlete. Of course, I'm talking about Deuce Chestnut. He got beat by Brian Thomas on a play in 11-on-11, and the throw was a little bit late getting out to Thomas. I think it was Daniels on the throw, and it was just a touch underthrown. And Chestnut recovered, closed, and knocked it away at the catch point, which was a really good instinctual ball skill play, but he did get run by. You look at Sage Ryan. Talent, sure. Has it been awesome for 2 years? Probably not. Greg Brooks has missed some time. He said today that he's been dealing with vertigo and he's going to be back. But he needs to get back on the field. Javian Toviano, super talent. He's a freshman. Ashton Stamps is moving forward, getting a lot of reps with the twos, some with the ones. He's a freshman. Denver Harris running with the threes and twos. I asked for a Q&A on Twitter on Saturday saying, hey, for some reason I got time wrong and I got there 45 minutes early. So I was sitting in the parking lot and just scrolling through my phone. Said, hey, give me some Q&As. And almost all the football questions were directly about the secondary. And I will sit here today and tell you it is fair to question that group. Now, it might really work out. But it's fair to question it at this point based on past accomplishments, lack of production returning on the LSU team, and the fact that they're getting beat a little bit by this really strong offense. I think that's fair. Now, as far as the defensive front goes, the worst part of practice by a long shot was a 4-minute interval. They're running that 11-on-11 that I'm telling you about. They're running some inside runs, really working on running the ball, blocking it, and they run a running play up the middle, goes for 2 yards, uneventful play, and all of a sudden, bang, I see 0 hit the ground behind the line of scrimmage. And 4 trainers run out there. Brian Kelly's right out there, and they just keep on practicing 20 yards in front of this, but Mason Smith's laying on the ground looking at his knee. And I'm standing off to the side going, I cannot believe what I'm looking at. Cannot believe this. He plays half a series last year. I'm out here at practice, and he goes down. He's holding his knee. And for 4 or 5 minutes, he was down. And then he hopped up, walked off a little gingerly, grabbed some water, walked off right next to the media, and a teammate said, you good? He said, yeah, I'm good. Now, I don't think he was a full go today. It sounded like when I read Matthew Bruni's practice report on 3 that he was limited today. But he was out there at least. So that was the worst part. When I'm looking down at LSU's potentially second, third best player, and he's holding his knee again, I'm going, I cannot believe this, but it seems like Mason Smith is going to be just fine. And the last thing from practice, as I kind of weave through a bunch of notes in my notebook here, Jaden Daniels to me is outperforming Garrett Nussmeier by an amount. It's not like Nussmeier looks terrible or Jaden Daniels is just vastly outperforming, but just practice in, practice out that I've been to, Daniels has clearly been the better option. He's been more accurate. He's obviously got a little more athleticism. We're not trying to determine who the starting quarterback is going to be. We know who the starting quarterback is going to be. Jaden Daniels is the starting quarterback. But for those that kind of looked at what Daniels did last year and liked the upside of Nussmeier and his kind of gunslinger mentality and throwing the ball down the field, Daniels just looks better. He completes more percent of his passes. He makes more accurate throws, and we know how well he runs. So that's not news at all. It's the opposite of news. It's old, but it's something that I've kind of made a mental note of over the time that I've been out there. Yeah, you know what? Daniels is the guy, and that's the right guy to have out there. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.